All right, this is the Seth build continued. I took out the shorter standoffs, or screws, put in the long ones. I put in 2 nuts underneath, 1 set of O-rings, another set of O-rings, and then another standoff that you can loosen or tighten as needed. When we left, my battery died and I was soldering the ESCs in. So I finished soldering the ESCs in, right? And then I soldered the signals in. And I decided, because I was lifting the board up higher, to go underneath with the signal lead. After that, I soldered in the Spectrum satellite connector to the Spectrum satellite port. And then I tricked out the buzzer a little bit. If you can see here, here's the buzzer right there, and I soldered it directly to the leads there. So the only thing left to do here is hook up the power leads here, and then I'll Loctite everything, double stick tape and little electrical tape, and then we can go into Clean Flight and tune this thing. I'll give it its maiden before I ship it off. But at this point, what I was going to do, there was no buzzer for this build, so I put this in, and there's no LED for this build, so I'm going to install an LED for my guy here. I went and printed this off because it makes it a lot easier. This is the Motolab Tempest right here, okay, and this is the rear of the ship facing us right now, and this is going to go on there like this. Come on, pop on there. I just printed it. Anyway, that's going to go on there like that. We got our buzzer in the rear, and then I'm going to have an LED. I don't know where I'm going to put it, because the battery goes on the bottom. So maybe I'll just double stick, I'll glue it right here. It'll be one of these LEDs. Where is it? Just so we can find it. I'm a fan of having a buzzer and an LED. This is the kind of LED I'm going to put on. See this one right here? That's what I'm going to put on. So let's prepare and do that. Alright, I'm just stripping them up, spinning them up, so that we can tin them up. This is for the LED again. Here's the LED. We're gonna tin that up too. Okay. Alright. Strip. Strip. Spin. Spin. And tin. Alright, let's move this up out the way. Pull this out here. Get this. We're gonna do this, and these are those Chinese LEDs. I like them though. And you have to go in the out. So you don't go in the in on these, you go in the out. So if you see that, there's nothing wrong. It's just how it is. Okay, let's get this white one I didn't get. Where did I melt something on my soldering iron? Let's see if we can get that off. Okay, that's one end. Flip them around. Flip them around. Alright, let's do this. And then we're gonna solder it to this and it says on here 5 volts, so this will be the 5 volts. And this will be the signal. And then this one will be the ground. I like having this so you can find and hear your model. Like if you lose it, you lose sight of it. You got 6 people walking around trying to find it. Okay, now we're going to solder these to the board. I hope they fit through the hole. Let me do a little trim job. We're going to trim the ground. We'll trim that big ball off of there. The only one I don't think will fit is this white one, so let's run the soldering iron over it real quick. See, it's got a stray. It's got a stray. Let me trim it. Alright, we're golden. Let's do it. So, here is the back of the ship. And keeping with the coming from underneath, we're going to pull all of these standoffs and you'll get a good look at the inside of the ship too, even though this is the main control board right here. Again, here is what I downloaded off of the internet. Oh, there's where I burnt my standoff with my soldering gun. Alright, let's pull these off. So the LED shows signal, voltage, ground. That's what we want. Look at, while we got this off, we'll finish her up with the XT60 connector. And she's ready for the computer. Alright, again, I want to look at this really close. This is the front. And we have signal starting at me, voltage in the middle, and ground on the end. So let's start with the ground on the end, because that looks like the one that's going to be the most difficult to get. Alright, I'm going to use my tweezers here. And then signal. Let me get it out of there. There we go. Nice. There it is. Let's hit it. Sweet. Alright. So now we're going to stick this thing down. And it's just going to glow up right up in here somewhere. I'm not going to do it just yet. but we got to prepare for this XT60 connector. So just a second. Okay, so I decided to go with number 12 wire for the power leads, and instead of going down, going up, so that I can zip tie it to the top plate for some strain relief. Alright, so what I did was I cut this insulation long and soldered about a 10 mil length, and then shook it off so that it was thin near the shaft and still solid. So now I'm sanding it down a little bit to fit it in the hole, because it is tight and it don't want to fit in the hole. But I'm sticking with number 12s, because if you go to 4 cell, you might be pulling that. Alright, so let's see. Does she fit this time? Almost. No, there she goes. Okay. They're both in there. Let's solder them up. Here we go. Sorry. I hope you can see this. I went to the big tip and the big soldering iron. Nope, that was the right side. Okay, I hope we didn't get it too hot. Alright. Let's flip this thing back over. Okay. Oh, I hope I didn't lose an O-ring. I'll be looking for that forever. There's one. Where's the other one? Shit. Anyway. Let's find the other O-ring. There it is. So, because these big thick wires wouldn't go down, I'm going to make them come up, right? And right here on the top plate, somehow, maybe right there, I'm going to tie it on. Somehow I got to tie it on. Is this going to fit? I don't know. We're going to turn it around 180. It's almost ready to plug in to. Okay, we sanded that. Voila. Look at that. Maybe we should make it go to the total other side. Because it's hard to make a loop there, and I don't want it to get caught by the props. So that might be. Luckily, I let this thing, my whole meter, my meter of whatever. So let's say, here we go. Are you watching? I'm gonna pop this off again. I'm gonna have to pop it. I gotta take it downstairs and drill it for antennas. So this is going to come across. That's going to leave strain relief for over here. So you'd never pull on it. You got me? And then this is going to come under there. Like that. Right?